5. And it's prime time in Spain. And out of the top 4, it looks like a decent start for everyone. Actually, Wesley Casper's getting a little bit of a run on John Manning. Up the inside he will be for turn 1. And this could be over and shut before the boom. But actually, John Manning fights back. And that becomes the inside for turn 2. And that is such good racing between the two. They're still too wide all the way through. Turn 3, this will be the inside of Repsol for Wesley Casper's turn 4. And the teams keep it nice and neat. And no yellow flag so far. So good racing up and down the field. Wesley Casper's, John Manning still battling, and John Manning has to concede a position, and into second he goes. Abazi in third, Miron in fourth, Axel in fifth, and Jakob Hoffer in sixth position. Mika Lihov up to seventh.
Yeah, but both the Hasses are getting pretty close to the cars in front of them as James T looking to make a move on Martin Aldering, and he's taken the McLaren out, and that is a yellow flag in sector 1. That's also Marcus Fjeld getting into a spot and bother there, and the Mercedes will be definitely picking up another penalty.
Miron Pill actually closing in on Abazi. Abazi had a mistake out at turn 3, so Miron Pill has gone up into third. Abazi's going to try and fight back around the outside at turn 5. They go in too wide. It'll be the inside for Miron Pill, and Miron Pill is able to maintain that position, so that's up for third for him. Axel Lurgestam will look to pass the McLaren next, who is under a little bit of pressure here, and Axel, who was looking to overtake Miron just recently, is now looking at the back of a McLaren.
They're taking a little bit of grass on the hard tyre there. And who's that? That's Mika Luoff in the Mercedes. Has had an incident on the track here and has toppled all the way down to P15 on lap 4. Not good when all the cars are so bunched up together.
And it's actually Miron who sees a lot of ERS at this stage, so they could be under attack. Actually, John Manning going for an overtake on Wesley Caspers. There's contact between the two. Caspers is going backwards, so is John Manning. It's Miron Pill who unbelievably leads the race on lap 6. James Abazi, 5 tenths behind, has a whole load of ERS to burn too, so we'll be putting Miron Pill under pressure, and it's a huge moment from Caspers and John Manning there.
What is he doing, bro? He's a idiot.
Wesley Caspers just behind. Actually, Axel goes flying off into the barrier where we've seen many crashes before in the past, and Axel lucky to still be in the race. I don't know if he's picked up any rear diffuser damage, but it certainly looks like his front wing is still intact, so he's able to rejoin the race.
As we are on to lap 8, Wesley Caspers is going to go for the move down the inside of Jakob Hoffer, back up into P3 after having an accident with John Manning, and that is a simple swish overtake.
He's got a 5 tenths gap to Miron Pill, who leads the race.
Yeah, and oh, John Manning! He's received a tap from behind from Hugh Hamil and has lost several positions there right at the end of sector 3. John Manning now down to P12. But definitely a high-quality racing driver there. Is that John Manning again, who seems to have had some sort of incident coming out of the left and right-hander there. But Williams recovering pretty quickly. It's not going well for John. As oh, who's that? That is Hannah's losing the Williams. Looks like he's maybe had a bit of a double spin at the final chicane. And both Williamses now only within two seconds of each other.
Closing in on Abazi. And will he think about a move? No, he doesn't. So it remains Pill from Abazi.
Just sails out.
As Ali crashes out of the race at turn 1. He's out. And will that be a full safety car? It looks like he's just off the racing line. Marcus Feld pits to see if there's any kind of safety car at the moment, trying to make full maximum use of it, but I don't think there will be. The car's been cleared, green flag, racing has resumed. Caspers does come into the pit, so Caspers has decided it is time to cover Abazi, and it'll be interesting to see who will come out in front. Abazi has a bit of traffic from the Williams in front. Who will get out on top here? Is the undercut going to be favourable for Abazi, or will the overcut onto the medium tyres work out for the Ferrari driver of Wesley Caspers? It's actually Abazi who's coming to the start-finish straight now, and there is cars battling right in front. He'll have DRS, and he has a bit of a tow, and there's the Ferrari right there, and Abazi maintains position over Caspers and doesn't want to get involved in this fight. The two cars in front ghost, so one of them must be an AI.
Possibly then, yeah. I saw James Abazi's wheel actually wiggling quite a bit there. Oh dear. And we're migrating host, and that doesn't look good. Yep, red flag confirmed.
So it's red flag the session, and that means that the cars must retire from the race. The grid will be reformed. And we have the lights coming on. 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5. And it's prime time once again in Spain. And it's actually a good start for Martin Aldering. And the car's under pressure. At the front is Miron Pill. Marcel Hall is maybe thinking of a move, and he doesn't go around the outside. Actually, it's Hemitz who's pushing and trying to get by. The 2 Williams are battling, and there's a car off in the backfield. It's Matt Guest, the reserve driver from Tier 2, and Jakob Hoffer, the 2 Aston Martin cars, languishing at the back there and not having a great restart. But Marcel Hall, James T, same the same positions, and Williams are still battling. Mika's trying to get involved with Nemitz down to turn 5, and I think Nemitz will just about hold off Mika there, who's gained a couple of positions from the start. And actually Nemitz is falling down the pack. He's facing backwards out of turn 14. So Nemitz falls down to the back of the pack here. And now it is going to be John Manning and Mika who actually pick up a place because of that. And John Manning trying to fight Martin Aldering there into turn 1. And that didn't end up working out okay for John Manning. He's actually backed off a little bit from that. So Aldering in 4th position here. Always a good one for the race. Holding off Marcel Hall there, and Jakob has retired from the session, so the Aston Martin, the first casualty of the restart.
But James T going around the outside or having a go at Marcel Hall. He pulls the move off, but Marcel Hall isn't going to let him have that one so easily. The Red Bull versus the Mercedes here, keeping a tyre up the inside, down into turn 5. Marcel was going to send it, just avoiding the yellow sausage curb and the Mercedes, and he ends up conceding the position. Yep, unfortunate for the reserve. Not exactly his place to take points, but John Manning going down the inside and takes out Marcel Hall. And that was a late move by John, and that's going to have to probably be a penalty for causing a collision, and Mika Luoff up into P6.
Kaspers is fighting Mika though, and he's going to go around the long way around the outside at turn 9. That was an impossible move.
Oh, there's a Haas in the background.
There's a Haas crash. That's Axel.
Yeah, Axel in the background doing donuts. I only just caught him in the back of the shot there. And just in taking away from the action there, the Mercedes just losing the position to the Ferrari. An incredible move by Wesley.
But Hugh Hamill will have a better grip and life of these tyres at this stage compared to the soft runners, who will be just trying to manage the thermal temperature of the carcass of these tyres through the long sweeping corners such as turn 3. And it's actually John Manning who's back passing James T into 2nd position. So John Manning, who's had a bit of a collision with Marcel Hall, has gone up into 2nd position here, and he comes into the pits. So he's covering off Abazi. It'll be interesting to see what Abazi can do. John Manning is going to maybe get the move on James T. It's going to be very close into turn 1. Of course, John Manning will have warmed up tyres, and they'll go too wide into the first corner. There's contact between the 2, and that is James T, who has been knocked by Manning there. And I think that Manning probably will reflect that he didn't leave enough space there. It did seem to just cut him off, and it was his front tyres that got the chop. We'll have to watch that again after the race. But Manning having further collisions out there with drivers, currently in 11th place, and that's worked out terribly for James T, who was running in the top 3 before the pit stops. And Abazi looking to get past the Garcia, who's having a spin, and that's contact between the McLaren and Garcia, and nothing that Abazi could do about that. The car was just spinning into him, and that gives the place to Kaspers, which is just so unfortunate and about sums up Abazi's luck in his races. Marcel Hall will surely be passed here by John. No, he's not. So this is really disastrous for John Manning's race. Every lap that they're caught behind them is disastrous, and maybe Marcel Hall is just playing the team game. He wants Hugh Hamill to have the best chance to overtake, and there's contact between the 2. John Manning will force himself onto the outside. Marcel Hall pushing all the way. Last week's race winner, and these 2 coming to blows. Will Kaspers just slide down to both of them? Because they're both off the track, and he's facing the wrong way. John Manning and Marcel Hall come to blows. Wesley Kaspers up to 3rd position, and Marcel Hall has had a huge contact with John Manning, that could help Hugh Hamill pick up some big points here, because he's only a few attempts away from the cars ahead, and on that soft tyre will be so much more performant at this stage of the race.
It just doesn't make sense.
So Marcel gets out of the way of his teammate. I honestly think that was all a team strategy between Red Bull, and I don't think Marcel Hall was trying to be malicious it certainly was bad driving in the end. We do actually see, oh yeah, that was John Manning who was turned back onto the track, but I think that was his AI who did it. Hugh Hamill does go up the inside of Martin Aldring. I think it was all about slowing down the pack and allowing Hugh Hamill to pick up some big points here. It's maximum points for the Scuderia as we leave the Spanish capital. Well, not the Spanish capital, the Catalan capital. Wesley Caspers in second, Abazi in third here. He'll be happy with his race.